Not too long ago, I think about 4 years ago, the Alberta Pharmacists Association published their annual report, and the front cover had a kind of collage of photographs, but the underlying main photograph was a picture of a pharmacist standing in a dispensary, an old pharmacist, a young pharmacist in an old dispensary. That picture showed the pharmacy with a whole bunch of blue bottles in behind, with big apothecary containers, you know, and urns and all kinds of stuff. All the old paraphernalia, and as the backdrop to the pharmacies. That's where I started to learn pharmacy. One of the pharmacies I worked at early on in my career that was ultimately taken over by Casement, I actually made powders in that pharmacy. And you probably don't know what a powder is, but you know, you grind up these constituents in the mortar and you fold them into these little paper things, and they could take that and dump it into a glass of water and it would effervesce like Eno or one of those things, and then it was consumed. But you made them up and you put these little powders, after you folded them up in paper, you put them in a little box with the label on the top. So I actually made that, and it wasn't unusual. There was still a fair bit of compounding going on. Then everything transitioned out of that over to proprietary products, name brand product. And then it transitioned out of that over to the molecules. Now we're into the generics, large issue being economics driving all of that. And now the pharmacy I'm working at is now known as a compounding pharmacy, and we compound just about everything. So all of a sudden, at the very end of my career, we're back making powders. Not quite, but we're making capsules, we're making lollipops, we're making suppositories, creams, ointments, lotions, solutions, all kinds of stuff. Pharmacy as a hospital pharmacist or a clinician or a academic, there was less of that going on then than there is now. The diversification of people coming out of their undergraduate degree into something else. Pretty much everybody was going into retail. They were going to make money, and they were going to buy a business, and they were going to be whatever. I don't think for a long time people even saw pharmacists as part of the healthcare, because there was always confusion as to whether we were health providers, or were we cigarette salesmen, or were we health and beauty aid people, or just exactly what were we? We were business people with a professional degree that had a professional component to our business in terms of healthcare. It seems to me we have for years and years and years always been striving to be clearly identified, and we're wondering who we are and where we're going and what we're going to do. And I think now, finally, at this point in time, as I see where the profession is, we are finally at the threshold of actually clearly defining and doing what we can do best. And I'm really happy for that. I see the transition happening in the not too distant future. The techs are going to be taking over the dispensing aspect. The pharmacist will be rightfully looking after the coordination and or else the counseling of patients and drug regimens and effectively prescribing or deciding which medications a patient is going to get based upon physician's diagnosis. So I see pharmacists almost stepping away from the pharmacy per se as such into a consultative capacity, where you would not be a diagnostician, but you would be an interpretive professional that would take that diagnosis, and then from the doctor sends the diagnosis, the patient comes to see the pharmacist, then the pharmacist consults with the patient, and we decide jointly on the medications that they're going to do. And the pharmacist isn't even going to be in the pharmacy because there isn't even going to be lab tests. What will happen is, once we figure things out, we'll be given an order that just stick in a slot, and then here's your prescription. So it'll be automated. I don't see us having the tray and the fives and all that. 20 years from now, it won't happen. So it's pretty exciting, and it's really where we belong. So I think we're finally arriving. Took a long time to get here.